Last year, I began my journey through every mainline Dragon Quest with 11, but of course, the fantastic remake of DQ3 as well. And well, thankfully, I did not have to wait long for another game to be re-released, because now we have Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake to talk about, and I have some thoughts on this game, especially Dragon Quest 1, which surprised me in a lot of ways. I definitely wasn't expecting what that game actually is. So in this video, we are getting into my review of Dragon Quest 1 HD-2D Remake and my first impressions of Dragon Quest 2. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy JRPG content and video game collecting, I would appreciate you liking the video and subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back. So first things first, I do want to say thank you to Square Enix for providing me with a PS5 review code for Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD. Although you all know me, I did get a physical copy to complete this beautiful image. I've actually had this as my wallpaper ever since the 3 remake got its, this one right here, got its release date like a year and a half ago. It's been my desktop wallpaper forever. I love that these arts actually connect. So review code provided, but also I did buy a copy of the game. It's kind of interesting to do this review having reviewed 3 last year, because frankly, a lot of the same things apply here. Pretty much everything good about Dragon Quest 3 is in these remakes, but also a few of the nitpicks I had in that review still apply to Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD. But to recap, here's what I love about Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake, as well as 3. Visually, I'm not getting tired of these HD 2D games. I do think, looking at Dragon Quest versus like Live Alive or Triangle Strategy, it's something about the character sprites. They're a little off. They don't quite blend as well in my mind, or in my opinion, as the other HD 2D games. But the actual worlds, and like when you're exploring the overworld, when you see like the miniature version of a town or a city, when you go in there, all the buildings and stuff. I mean, these games are visual treats through and through, and I know some people are tired of the HD 2D moniker, but also just this style from Square Enix. But listen, as someone who did not really grow up on Square Enix games, I am loving it. I'm loving that they're doing the style and they're reviving so many classics with it, even stuff that is kind of adjacent, like Star Ocean Second Story R, which isn't quite HD 2D, but like it is essentially just, you know, has its own little flair to it. I'm loving it, man. I love all these remakes they're doing. I hope they do even more remakes of Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy in this style, because I really can't get enough of it. I think this is like the perfect templates for remastering older NES and SNES RPGs. Something I don't think I mentioned in my review of 3 is the voice acting. So these games do have voice acting, although having just come off of Final Fantasy Tactics, which I love, by the way, go check out my video on that game. I wish there was more voiced lines, because the voice acting that is there is really good, and it's always for the more important moments when you're talking to a king or a queen or something, or something's going down in the story. But I do wish more of the lines were voiced, especially so far in 2, where you have this party and they all have voices and you're talking quite often. You're not always getting actual voice lines. So I wish that there was a little bit more voice work in the game, because what is there is really good. I did see in a GameSpot's review, one of like the main bullet points they put as a negative was stop saying thou, which was really funny reading their review and then playing the game after, because they say thou a lot. The characters talk in like a very thick ye old English in this game, but then there are characters that don't. So honestly, like, I appreciate the vibes, and this is what I've said in all my Dragon Quest videos. It's the vibes for me. It's the vibes of Dragon Quest, the world of Dragon Quest, the story, pretty bare bones. You're going to fight a dragon lord, whatever. But the visuals, the sprite work, the creature design from Akira Toriyama, the music, which maybe they reuse the same tracks throughout too many games. I'm not here to say one way or another, but certainly it all builds up to make Dragon Quest, frankly, my cozy game. I'm not playing those cozy games. When people think of cozy game, they're thinking of, I don't know, Stardew Valley. For me, my cozy game is Dragon Quest. These are not the most in-depth experiences. They are very tried and true JRPGs where you are going to have to grind, and you are just gonna have to sit there and grind and mash the A button for a long time to level up. And while you might not always be in the mood for that type of JRPG, I'm pretty much at a point where any time a Dragon Quest comes along the way, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm locked in to just experience this world. That is what I like so much about Dragon Quest. It's just like good vibes all around. It was really great finally getting to play Dragon Quest 1 for the first time. I mean, this is kind of considered the grandfather of all turn-based RPGs, and I did not know what I was getting into. So I believe I've played a little bit of that really bad mobile port that's on Switch, but I never finished that or anything. I did not realize that you only have your main character in this game. You don't have a party of, you know, nameless NPCs with jobs or anything. You don't have a party of actual named characters like in 2, although you can change them in 2, it's just you, and you are just Doomslayer in an RPG, basically fighting hordes and hordes of enemies, which is honestly really cool. I don't know if it's for everybody, but having played so many RPGs, especially over the past couple of years, it was kind of refreshing to have a game that I know it's like this, historic RPG, but actually it's still very different in the way it plays because you don't have a party. Every JRPG has to have a party, but in this game you're just this one dude absolutely plowing through monsters. And I thought that was just a really cool angle. It made it feel unique, you know? There are definitely parts of this game where I feel like the difficulty spikes in frankly unfair ways. And, having not played the original, I'd be curious to see how the pacing compares in general. I know they added some to this. I think the level cap in the original version was 20. In this, I'm actually not even sure what it is. But I was up there in the 40s by the time I finished the game. And there are spikes, for sure. I would say pretty smooth sailing up until around Green Dragon. Green Dragon had to grind for a little bit, and then from there it kind of just ebbs and flows depending on the area. I feel like maybe they could have done the balancing a little bit better, given that you don't have someone in your party who's dedicated to healing or status ailments or buffs, that kind of thing. So I really like the idea of just being a one-man army in a Dragon Quest game, and I got a lot of enjoyment out of the game because of that, because it is so unique. But also I think they could have balanced it a little bit better. That being said, I do really like just how long this game is. Not to just be like, oh, I like that the game's short, I got through it faster. It took me about, like, I don't know, 14 hours or so to beat Dragon Quest 1 2D HD or HD-2D Remake. But there's something about just like a shorter JRPG experience. You don't get too many of those. So to be able to start this game and finish it over the course of like 3 or 4 days was pretty nice. And honestly, like, I mean, you all know me if you watched all my JRPG reviews. I don't like nameless NPC party members or anything like that. Like tactics, that was a criticism I had of it. Eventually, I got over it, and I like my little party of weirdos in that game. But I don't like when the game's story is involving characters that aren't actually characters, if that makes sense. Dragon Quest 1 has like 5 characters that matter, so the story feels very contained in that way. There's not all these random people around that like are supposedly involved in it. It is just this very small scale story about you taking down the Dark Lord, and I don't know, I thought that was a lot of fun. And that same thing applies to Dragon Quest 2 HD-2D Remake. So once again, I have not finished it yet. That's why it's not my full review, just giving you my impressions of Dragon Quest 2 right now, although I don't know how much my opinions will really change here. The story and the characters already I'm liking more than 1 as well as 3, because all of your party members are actually relevant to the story. I have no idea what like the Dragon Quest community fan ranking is of like 1, 2, and 3. My assumption was 3 is the fan favorites, but I gotta be honest, I'm kind of liking both of these more than 3. 3 did have the Monster Wrangler added to it in that remake, and I do kind of miss the Monster Wrangler, and that was so much fun going to like the secret spots and finding a slime or whatever to have in the Monster Arena, and I wish that stuff was in this game because they added it to that remake. But in terms of like the story and characters, these games are resonating a lot more than 3 did. And I like 3, don't get me wrong. And I guess I might not feel this way if I didn't already have the context of 3, right? Like maybe I wouldn't feel as connected to all of these characters if I hadn't already played 3 because, well, I won't get into spoilers here, but, maybe play 3 first. So maybe that's part of it. So in that case, props to 3 for setting these up to be a knockout for me. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying that aspect of it as well, especially the characters in 2 so far. I haven't finished it. I haven't rolled credits. Maybe I'll end up hating all of these characters, but the fact that they're actual characters, they have a default name that you can apply, and they have voices, and they're actually important to the story, to me, it just makes me instantly like them more, and I feel like I can relate to them better than, if it was just my generic party and 3, right? So I don't know if it's a hot take, but I'm actually enjoying these games more than I enjoyed 3, but it does still share some of the same kind of blemishes, I guess, that Dragon Quest 3 had for me when I mentioned in that review. Notably, I do still wish there was a way to turn off random encounters. I don't know what we're doing here. It's a modern JRPG. You have this easy difficulty Draki mode where you literally can't die if you have the invincibility toggle on. And I'll be honest, sometimes the green goblin mask is like beckoning me, like, oh, just turn it on real quick for a boss fight. I try my best to not turn it on at any point, but sometimes I'm like, real quick, maybe just get through this section. But like, come on, give me a random encounter toggle. After playing through the Pixel remasters, or a couple of them a couple of years ago, it's just nice, man. It's just a nice quality of life thing. You've already done so many quality of life improvements to these games. Why not have that as a function? But also, a criticism I had of 3 still applies and that is the combat speed. So you have speed up options in this game. However, I still feel that when I'm grinding, and maybe I'm spoiled by the pixel remasters, although I would have to actually see and compare the like the speeds of combat. Even when you're on the ultra fast setting, it still feels like it's not as fast as it should be. And then when you turn off the ultra fast setting in combat and you go to that slow Dragon Quest 1 speed, it's like, oh my goodness. I mean, listen, I'm happy that is an option there, having that OG speed. And if you really want to take your time with this game and just immerse yourself in it and not play any other games for the rest of your life, then okay. It's good that there is that slower speed, but swapping from ultra fast to normal, it's like, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine playing the game at that speed. And I frankly, I do wish there was an even faster setting for when I'm just, kind of sitting there grinding, listening to a podcast, whatever it is. Not that ultra fast is slow. I just wish maybe there was an ultra fast option in this game. I do also want to give a shout out to the main character of 2. I named him Alan. Apparently that's like his name in like a drama CD or something. I always go for like the true canon name if there's something available. But Alan here, this man, similarly to what I was saying about Dragon Quest 1 and how unique it is and how it plays, and that you're one character, Alan, Dragon Quest 2's protagonist, also has something unique going on. Dragon Quest games, you're getting all these spells, abilities, you're doing Kazap, you're doing Sizz and stuff like that, right? This man doesn't learn any spells, which is really, once again, just cool. I feel like maybe this is one of those things where people playing it on the NES or, Famicom in Japan, maybe they were like, "Oh, I don't like this. I want to be able to do spells." But having played so many JRPGs in my life at this point, it's nice just to have these things that are just, it's different. That is completely different. You have your party members and they learn your heal and your zoom so you can fast travel and stuff. But my main man of Dragon Quest 2 can't do any magic, which is, it's like Rock Lee, dude. He has to just focus on the physical attacks and abilities and stuff. It just helps give the gameplay of these very, basic turn-based RPGs. It helps give them more personality and more uniqueness that helps separate it from the other, from Dragon Quest 3, but also even like Dragon Quest 11 or something, which is so different, but also mechanically it's not. Having your one-man army in DQ1 or having your main character that doesn't learn spells in DQ2, like these are things that I really appreciate that they did all the way back then, and seeing them remade now is awesome. Unfortunately, I can't really speak on like the new additions to this because I have never played those originals, but overall, as a newer Dragon Quest fan, right? This is now, once I finish 2, I'll be four deep, 7 of course coming out. Very excited for Reimagined in February. I am loving it. I'm not getting tired of it, and I cannot wait to we'll finish 2, play through 7 in February, and then I think my goal for 2026. This is a lofty goal. I think I'm gonna try to play through the entire Zenithian trilogy. I think I'm saying that right. The DS games. I have 4 and 6. I need to get 5. 5 is very expensive. People always recommend 5 to me. I was like, you gotta play 5, dude. You're gonna love it. And I could wait for them to remake them because I think it's very likely that within 2 or 3 years we see Chapters of the Chosen announced for Switch 2 and PS5 in some sort of HD-2D remake. But I think I kind of want to get ahead of that and play them so that when the remakes are announced, I can be, along with everybody else, kind of comparing the original to the remake. I guess maybe I should play 8 then, actually, because I think 8 will happen first. But yeah, really enjoying my journey through these Dragon Quest games. Loved 3 last year, loved 1, even with its, kind of difficulty, pacing issues, and, the quality of life stuff I still wish they would add to these. It's just good times. If you like Dragon Quest, you're going to love Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. You might have some nitpicks with it, but overall, I think you're going to appreciate the experience like I am. Of course, as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Have you been playing these remakes? What do you think of them? I'm curious, maybe if you played the original, how do you think they compare to the original versions? How do you think the remakes are in contrast? Because I actually didn't really see much comparisons of 3 and 3 Remake. So something else I would like to do is maybe actually go back and at least play through 1, because I think that one had the most done to it in terms of like adding content, like I mentioned, the level cap. It's also a very short game, so I could just go back and play through the original. I just don't want to play that awful mobile port. I hate the way the sprites look in that version. One last thing I'll say before I end off the video. I don't know when exactly it's going to be. Hopefully before the end of November. I am planning another video on this pair of games once I platinum them. I am going for the platinum in both of these games, still collecting. I missed some of the mini medals and DQ1, playing through 2 right now. And yeah, I'm going to do another video on Dragon Quest 1 and 2. So if you want to see more Dragon Quest content, definitely subscribe, and subscribe for more JRPG content in general. We have Octopath Zero next month, and I think I'm going to try and play through that as well. And I'm just completely immersed in all these Square Enix JRPGs. So definitely subscribe for that. And once again, like the video if you enjoyed. I would appreciate it. Until next time, folks. Peace.